let's talk about TradingView. Now, TradingView is the website that I use for my technical charts. People also use Zerodha's technical charts. They're actually derived from TradingView, but some people prefer to use Zerodha itself. No problem with that. But the website is in tradingview.com. So let's just quickly go there first. I want you to see how how you can use that chart. Okay, so let's go there first. Then we will talk about. All right. So I'm first going to remove everything. Okay, just for you guys to hopefully see. I'm going to remove everything, all my indicators. Okay. Now this, for the most part, is the plain Jane. Now some people can use lines. I use candles, and again, disregard these lines. I draw lines. I'll tell you more about lines. But if I were to look at this just like this, it can sometimes get very confusing for people. Okay. But I want you to know there is a story behind a technical chart. We've talked about technical charts before, so I'm not going to go in depth into technical charts. But I want to show you how to use this. Okay. Now, first of all, if you go to this place, you go here, you can decide which chart you want to see. So if I choose the Nifty, I can get the Nifty chart. Then, okay, let me remove all of these. Okay. Next, you by scrolling your mouse, you can zoom in and zoom out. Okay, zoom in and zoom out. You can also change the scale by, if you look at the range value, you can see that the mouse has changed into a double-edged arrow. So if I move the mouse up and down, I can change this. I can also pull the chart up and down. So this helps me a lot in watching trends and everything. Okay, in drawing trend lines, in deciding what to do. Okay, so that is one part. Now you can choose anything. You can choose things from outside India if you want to. For example, the WTI, crude oil, US oil. Will show you the US oil, crude oil prices in the US market in the NYMEX. You can decide what you want to see. Okay, then you have different ranges here. Now on the basic version, you will only have the 1 day, the 1 week, and I think the 1 hour. Okay, but if you pay for it, you can get all the way up to even 1 second, which I don't know why people use. That's for scalpers basically. But the charts that I watch are the 1 minute, the 3 minute, the 15 minute, the 1 hour, the daily, and the weekly. Why I watch all of these is simply because 15 minutes is what I use for intraday. Okay, making my decisions for intraday. 1 hour is to watch where the trend is in my decision making for the intraday. 3 minutes is to check the momentum for the intraday. Then the daily and the weekly and the 1 hour are also used for making decisions when it comes to short term or swing trading and for long term. Okay, so you can have all of these. Now if you make a favorite on them, if you star them, you can see they show up here. It's much more easier. So again, the time ranges that I want, I keep them. Then you can also choose what sort of formations you want to watch. So again, I usually lines. I don't actually use lines. I just put it as a favorite. I don't know why, but I usually candles. But you can use bars. Anything below this line, Renko, Line Break, Kagi, all of these are paid versions. They're not available on the free version. But again, a lot of stuff available. I don't think you need all of these. I stick to candles, much more easier. Okay, then this is to compare. You want to compare certain. You want to compare by adding, for example, if this is the crude oil, right? I want to add. I want to add crude oil from India. Okay, and so if I overlay that chart, I will start seeing two. Actually, this is now a mix of those two. Okay. Normally nobody uses it, so it's not a big thing. But you can actually watch multiple charts. Then this FX is where most of our action is. Okay. We normally would do a lot of FX. Now on the basic, so these are basically all the indicators that you can use. Okay, indicators and strategies. Now I want you to know for me, Now you can see I've favorited a lot of indicators. I don't use all of these guys. I just favorite them in case I want to take a second opinion. Again, if you click down this, you can see all the indicators that I have favorited. But the basic indicators I use is, first of all, my main guy is the MACD. A lot of my decisions are based on the MACD. So what I do is I go FX, I type MACD, and I click it, I get it. Okay. Now you don't have to change anything for the MACD. It's all the default values are perfect. Again, if you want to know how the MACD works, I've already done that in the technical charts. So I'm not trying to explain that. I'm trying to show you how to use TradingView. Right. The second one that I use is the moving average. Moving average exponential. Again, I only use one moving average. I just use the MACD. And so this one, I will change it to 21 close. And I will just increase the depth of my line. Okay, that's about it. These are the only two I use. And then I also sometimes use ATR. ATR is for the stop loss, basically to figure out where the stop loss has to. So these are the basic tools that I use. Okay, so you can get your indicators here. Okay, now on the basic version, I think you can only have up to 3 indicators. Okay, maximum of 3 indicators. I use a premium version, so I get all of that. Then next, you can, if you want to look at fundamental metrics for stocks, you can go and check, the income statement and all of that. Again, I don't use that a lot. There is the indicator template, which sometimes I save. You can save your indicator templates if you want to. Now, alerts. This is the most important thing that I use. Okay. Now, how I do this is I don't click it from here. What I do is I go to the stock itself. For example, I want to see if this will cut this line. Okay, say this is a trend line. So what I do is I draw a trend line. If it cuts below this, I want to buy it, or I want to sell it. Okay, that's one principle. So once I draw the trend line, I can go on this, add alert on the trend line. Okay. Can you see that? Add alert on the trend line. And normally what I do is I put it once per bar, and then depending on what noise I want to hear, I put an alert, and then I just create it. Okay, so now it's created. The moment it's created, you can see that an alarm clock shows up. Okay, so I have created an alert for US oil to see if it's going to break down. I also create, so what are the alerts that I use? First, I use alerts for MACD. I want to know when it's cutting the MACD. The second alert I use is to see when it cuts the EMA. Okay, so for every alert that I put, I check if it's going to cut the EMA once per bar. One bar meaning the range, 15 minutes, for example. This is our bar or the candle. So once per candle, once every 15 minutes, if it cuts, I will get an alert. Okay. On the MACD, what the alert that I use is, for example, MACD crossing signal. Okay. Again, once per 15 minutes, if it happens, I want to know. And that's how I set alerts. And if you look at my alerts, you will see, okay, this is my alerts. So there's a whole bunch of alerts for, I think about 150 shares I keep alerts for, plus the indices and now commodities also. Now on the basic version, you can only have one alert. Okay, you need to pay if you want to get more alerts. So my version that I use is the highest version, and so I can use up to 300 or 400 alerts. But again, you don't necessarily need to use all of that. You can actually watch one thing and put one alert, and you can still do it, especially if you want to do it for free. Okay. Now, if you're doing it on Zerodha, you can't put alerts, but you can also watch the trends and all of that. So alerts is something that is a really big game changer for me, because I don't want to sit in front of the system all the time. I'd rather watch an alert and then come back. When I hear the sound, I come back and I just take a look and make a decision. Okay, that's alerts for you. Then another thing you can do is you can do a testing. Okay, for example, now if I play this, it'll show what happened. It'll show what happened to the. Sorry. Okay, if I play this, it'll show how the market went. So it's like a, you can see how the animations are working up. So this is a replay if you want to. Some people use it for back testing. I don't really use it. Now you can also change the layout. For example, if I want to have 2 charts, voila, I can change to 2 charts, and I can change what I want to see here. Say I want to watch crude oil on top, and on the bottom I want to watch, say I want to watch, okay, so I'm going to watch crude oil India, MCX on the bottom, and I can watch the other one separately over here. I can change that. Can change the symbol here if I want to say another chart. Okay, so I can watch multiple charts if I want to. I can watch the same chart on different time scales if I want to. For example, if I were to choose this two charts, and then I can change the timeline here. This is on 15, right? So I can change the timeline here to a different timeline if I want to. And so you can do this if you want to watch multiple things. I don't. I just use one single chart. I'm fine with that. Okay. Keep it simple. All right. Then if you want to publish any ideas or thoughts, you can click this publish button. Again, not something to use. Okay. Where we come next is to these watch lists. So you can create new watch lists. So I have, for example, a MACD watch list, a watch list itself. And I also have blue, green, orange, red list. So for example, some shares that I want to watch. So my blue list is actually the list that I use a lot. I can drag it out, to see everything properly. I can pull it back in. And over here are the shares that I normally track. Okay. The shares that I normally track are on this. And all I need to do to remove it, for example, say I want to remove Tata Chemical or Adani Ports. I can just remove it. And then if I want to bring it back on, there's a couple of ways I can do this. Okay, so for example, if I type Adani Port and I check it, what you can see here is you can, when you scroll to its name, you can see a flag appearing. I can change the flag. I can put it back in the blue. I can put it, say, let me put it in the green. Okay, so if I go to green, I can now see Adani Port there. And so that's again a thing that you can do. Okay, you see all these lines, please. These are just me going crazy. Now this, what happens here is also we're watching two shares at the same time because I added the plus sign here. That is why it was showing 2 things at the same time. I have to note that now. Use the confusion. But you can see I draw a lot of trend lines. Now let me show you how, kind of to quickly show you how I do trend lines also, so you guys get an idea. Okay. So how do I do trend lines? So you can see I've set alerts for the trend line, all of that. So what I do is by moving the scale up and down, I can kind of get a superimposition. And then you see I've drawn a trend line where the line is touching a lot of the points here. Here again, you can see that the line is touching a couple of points here, here, here. And so if it breaks down out of the trend line, I know that it's possibly going to go down. So for example, if I had set an alert and I watched 343 breaking, so it went down to 328. I could have, sold here and made money here. Okay. So again, these are things that you can use TradingView for. Let me show you what the cost entails, because I think some people are not aware of that also, and probably this will help you. One, the basic version is free. Okay. The version that I use is the one on this side, the premium version. Okay, and that's very costly. But I paid it. I had a good discount when I first started, and I paid for a year. It cost me a lot of money, but for me the investment is worth it, considering my portfolio. For most people, I would suggest start with the basic plan. Don't go into the Pro and Pro Plus unless you have a large investment. You're planning to do this, quite methodically. Okay. So basic things. First of all, you can have 1 chart per tab. I don't think you need more than 1 chart anyway per tab. Okay. So 1 chart per tab is good. Device at the same time. Again, I don't use my phone and my laptop for making decisions. So again, 1 device, again, it's fine. Number of save charts, again, great. The only struggle probably would be the custom time intervals, where you can only have daily, weekly, and monthly on this one. If you want to go down into the minute charts, you need to have at least a pro version. And then in the intraday, all those Renko, all of those, not big deals. None of the rest of it is a big deal here. But I think the issue is the custom time intervals there. Then when it comes to indicators, on the basic version, only 3 indicators per chart, which is fine actually, because I use MACD, EMA, and ATR. I don't use any other indicator. I would be okay with it. But if you go all the way up, because 25 indicators, I don't know why people use 25 indicators, but again, that's also fine. All right. Then when it comes to alerts, so here's the thing. For all of these, you have only 1, 10, 30. On the end, you have 400 alerts, which is what I use. And I can set it unlimited. Over here, it times out after 2 months. The maximum you can set is for 2 months. And you can only set 1 alert on the basic version. But I want you to know that at least you can do that, okay, for free. On Zerodha or any other thing, you can't set an alert. So for a free version, 1 alert is a big thing. But if you really want to do it well, you can always, get into a higher version. But I would suggest don't pay for that yet. Okay. Stick with the basic version. And if you need any help, you can ask me.